Today, it's one of my favorites, but we still made mistakes like everything else. So we can actually share them all with you guys, all the mistakes and failures along the way, so you don't have to experience them. Number one, chasing the lighting dragon.
Yeah, so the mistake here is not considering this as an option as your tank grows or as you grow with your tank. A mistake that I've made personally just by, I had this light that was getting the job done, and now I got a bigger tank, and now I'm thinking, man, this is gonna be super expensive to get into the next lighting. It can be cheaper, and it can be more cost effective. You just gotta choose the right tool.
Yeah, it might sound kind of cheesy to say the mistake is not selecting this or considering this as an option, but it's just true.
Yeah.
So if you're out there looking for the mythical best option out there, I don't really know what it is, but I can tell you this. Looking at the E170, if you would call this a success and you would like a lighting option that can help you achieve something like this in as little as 14 to 16 months, just from tiny little frags where lighting will never be the barrier, consider this one. Number two, this is actually kind of easy to do with this.
Yeah, the mistake is mounting it too high. So there's, you do lose some light with the space of how long this is and how tall, wide it is. The higher you go, the more light spills outside. You lose some par on there, so don't mount it too high.
Yeah, it's a wide angle light coming out of the T5, so just pay attention to it visually. When you're mounting it, if you're seeing a lot of spill into the room, it's too high, lower it down. Number three, this is not always possible, but we do our best.
Yeah, so the mistake here is you've got yourself a light with a recommended mounting height of like 12, 14 inches, and then you're supposed to mount this one at around 8 inches. Which do you choose?
Yeah, so the answer is split the difference, right? Yeah. So especially if you already own the lights, if you already own them, you don't really have an option. So you go a couple inches too high for this and a couple inches too low for your LED option, you split the difference. Mm-hmm. However, if you're buying brand new, it is wise to try to get a light that both the LED and the T5 fixture are at the optimal height. For me, again, we'll go back to the E170, and the optimal combination for me is that Kessil A360X and the Aquatic Life fixture together, not only visually, but also really optimized to that mounting height. Number four, sometimes form matches function.
Yeah, so don't overlook the dimmable option if looks matter to you. There's a single cord off of it. I think that was one of the biggest things about this this original model here is the cords on either side. Not attractive to some people, but there is an option for you if that's your case.
Dimmable also means attractive in the tank because you can create those like dust is on effects with the T5s as well. So if aesthetics in and out of the tank really matter, then think about the dimmable option. All right, so number five, you may not have considered this thing.
Yeah, and the mistake here is overlooking or not thinking about the differences between the 16, 18, and 24-inch end plates. These things can change the spacing of your T5s, and there is a specific purpose for each one. We tested a 16-inch is good for like those 18-inch front to back tanks. 18-inch end plates, good for your 24 inches, and 24-inch end plates, good for about 30 plus inches front to back.
So for most 2-foot deep tanks, which is pretty common, the one that it comes with is the right one.
Yeah.
But if you really want to optimize, you can absolutely change out the end plates and space the T5s differently, which is unique to this fixture. But another thing in there is if I want to raise it higher, I can actually space them closer.
Yeah.
Just note that as you get closer, not every LED option will fit inside. Number six, it's got cords coming out everywhere. What do I do?
Yeah, so the mistake here is overlooking these decorative end caps. So these come with your end plates, but if you have one that you didn't have an decorative end cap for and you want it, they're pretty cheap to make it look really nice.
Yeah, so you can get rid of hide the cords, hide all the screws and everything, and just give it a polished look. Number seven, you are pairing things differently and you have options.
Yeah, the mistake is not matching your T5 bulbs with your LED and what your LED predominantly produces. So there's some LED options out there that are just heavy blue. That's all they really have for adjustment wise. So you probably want to pair that with some kind of white bulb or blue-white hybrid like the Coral Plus. Or opposite of that, if your light is white or whiter, put some blue bulbs in.
Now, if you're wondering, that E170 we keep talking about is 4 blue pluses with the Kessil just tuned to a wider spectrum. But one of the things we've done in the past is like measure a bunch of different options out there. And so what if your LED doesn't have like any of the UV or like deep violet spectrum? Well, you can actually fix that on your LED by adding in some actinic bulbs. So really think about maybe the tool that you're using with the LED and think about how these bulbs can actually supplement that to make it even better. Number 8, it gets dirty.
Yeah, so clean them. So clean the reflectors on this thing. I mean, it's pretty easy. So the dirt and the buildup could probably lose some kind of reflection, maybe diminish par a little bit, but it's just worthwhile to keep them clean.
It's probably more than you think, actually. Yeah. So if you think about a bulb, it's emitting light in 360 degrees. So at minimum, half that light needs to reflect off a surface to go back down in the tank. If it's covered in salt creep and dirt, it's just not going to do that. So if you want to get the most out of the lighting option that you purchased, then clean those reflectors every now and then, and you'll get better results. Number 9, you don't have to hang this thing.
Yeah, so the mistake here is overlooking the wall brackets or the wall mounts and the extenders. So these wall brackets cantilever off the side of the wall, hold the light above your tank. And recently they just came out with some extenders so you can go a little further off the wall if you've got a bigger gap on the back of your tank.
So a lot of people don't want to hang it from the ceiling. So the ability to just bolt something to the wall makes it a lot easier to be able to hang it over the tank and then get things out of the way as well. Number 10, you can watch Randy's videos on these, but really you should do this.
Rent a par meter. So don't make the mistake of not renting a par meter, or if you have one or want to buy one or need one, use a par meter to dial this thing in. You're going to see a increase in par from just your LED alone. So if you've already done it for your LED, redo it now that you got T5s.
Yeah, so don't buy one. Most people probably don't need to spend $500 on a par meter. You're going to use it once. Rent one. And this is what I'm going to tell you. I've said this many times now, but I don't think there's a single area on the entire tank where $70 will have a higher rate of return for most reefers. So really, really consider whether or not you just want to buy the best tool, or do you want to buy the best tool and then optimize it for the best performance? All right, so if you only heard one thing today, let it be this.
Yeah, that is pick an LED that works best for this light, especially if you don't already have an LED on your tank. If you're thinking about this one out of the gate, find an LED where those mounting heights really start to come together in that 8 to 9 inch range.
And mine is stop chasing the lighting dragon. What is the absolute best doesn't really, it's a mythical creature. If you look at the E170, this is a tank with no sump, very little filtration, and the lighting is helping produce this. If this looks like what the goal looks like for you, you can stop right now and know that this will produce it. All right, so if you want to learn more about it, Thomas has a great video right here, or you can head on over to the lighting category of our site and check out all the Aquatic Life systems right here.